on the ticker. Make sure you follow Michael Lombardi, NFL exec, media and analyst, and host of the Daily Coach Pod. Follow him right there on Twitter. Michael, I appreciate you joining me, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Good morning. Good to be here.
Yeah, I used to be on Pat's show every week, and I see you on there, and I saw you last week break down the quarterbacks, and I was like, man, I just said this same thing on my show a couple of days prior, and I'm like, dude, it is great to hear it from someone like yourself. I know if you don't know who Michael Lombardi is, make sure you follow him. Former Browns GM, was with the Patriots for a long time. Now, your show, is it the GM Shuffle or is it the Daily Show?
I have two shows. I do the GM Shuffle podcast, which is on DraftKings and VSiN networks, and I also do a daily show, the Lombardi Line, which is on the VSiN platforms. You can get it on YouTube. I do that for 2 hours during the week, and then on weekends, 10 to 12 over at the Borgata. So it's mostly all football, but it's a betting show, handicap of the teams, which is essentially what I did when I was in the NFL working.
We had my morning show. We do a morning show every day, and I do my daily show in the afternoon. And Matt McChesney's on with me. That was who that was. It just got out. He played at Colorado, played in the league, I think, 6-7 years, O-lineman. He got drafted as a D-lineman, and they switched him over to O-line to play. But he's up at Colorado right now, shadowing Mike Sanford, the interim head coach. So he's up there doing that with them. So let me ask you, I heard you talk, man, and I hear your show, and I'm like, dude, we speak the same language. I said Daniel Jones would be one of the best return comeback players of the year this year. I said the Giants are going to win 7 games. Now I'm leaning that they win 9. You say similar things about him. I think, I know his coach in college, Coach Cutcliffe's a great dude, and he's recruited me for years, and I've sent him players. And he told me that Daniel has the it factor. I think that he's gone through a lot of transition. As you know, it's not easy in this league when you're in a bad organization. You get new OC, new head coaches every year, it seems like. I think Sam Darnold's a victim of that. I think hopefully Trevor Lawrence will not fall to that. He was on his way last year, and now it looks like Peterson's the guy for him. How often do you see that in your profession that guys get drafted and we really never know how good they will be because they're in such a bad organization?
It goes for the coaches, too. In my next book that I just finished called Football Done Right, I break down a lot of the coaches, and I go over categories about, good coach, bad owner, good owner, great coach. There's so many variables in determining whether a coach is successful, and it's the same thing with the quarterback. I've never actually been a Daniel Jones fan. I think when the game speeds up, he can't really get there. However, that being said, I think Daboll and Mike Kafka have done a great job of managing what his strengths are. And he's an athlete. He can run. And when you give him easy throws like the Packers did last week, and when he can repeat plays, right? They ran about 4 or 5 plays. That's all they ran. They ran swap boot in about 1,000 different combinations. And he's very effective at doing that. And they've done a great job. And it proves the point, Jason, that all these guys, Parcells said this to me 30 years ago. Walsh said the same thing. All these guys have to be managed. There's very, very few that you just roll the ball out and say, go ahead and play. Every quarterback has strengths and weaknesses, and the coaches that play to the strengths and eliminate the weaknesses obviously make their quarterback look a lot better. And when they don't do that, they look like Darnold or they look like some of these other guys. Now, some guys are I never thought Josh Rosen was going to be a good pro. I think that's been proven out. I think there's some things that just you can't replace. However, that being said, I think when you manage one and you make them look more effective, you ask yourself, is it the scheme or is it the player? The Cowboys, is it Cooper Rush or have they modified their scheme to fit Cooper Rush? I think it's the latter.
Me too. I agree. And I don't know if you replace him right now. And I don't believe he's anywhere near skill set wise as gifted as Dak. We know that. But that doesn't mean you're not a better quarterback. Like, in my opinion, Lamar Jackson's a freak of nature. One of the guys we've maybe never seen in this league, but at the same time, he's not a great quarterback to me. I just don't think it's sustainable in the long haul, what he does and what they do. Kudos to Harbaugh, though, for running a system that is basically built around him from top to bottom. And I know you've seen this many times, like last year, Justin Fields, but what is the backup? They go from Justin Fields running read option, RPO, triple option to Dalton when they're back in the 21 and 12 personnel, dropping straight drop back West Coast. Like it was such a big difference. Nowadays, you've got this Ravens roster built strictly behind what he does. RG3 was the quarterback, McSorley. Now they got Huntley. So whoever comes in, they're going to run the same system, which I give him a lot of credit for. I just think it might be his demise as well, because I don't know if it's sustainable. 9 quarterbacks last week, Mike. 9 quarterbacks threw for under 200 yards in the NFL. I've never seen it in my life, I don't think, in 30 years. I've been saying it. I take a lot of heat and everything. And when you came out and were talking similar things on Pat's show last week, I said, man, this is coming from a guy that had been in the NFL for his whole life. And now, but what do I know? I always say, what do you think, man? Justin Fields couldn't hit water. He fell out of a boat. I think Kyler Murray's the same way. He doesn't even understand where his hots are coming from, his side adjust. He doesn't understand line protection, gap, run fits. He don't know rotation or coverage. Are we too complex as coaches? Is Kingsbury giving him too much as far as length of play call when we know we're not even studious enough to understand where our hots are coming from? I just think we're out tricking ourselves right now in this day and age, because the quarterback play is atrocious.
Well, I mean, look, every week I go through one of the key elements of every game is when you add rushes and completions together. So you take the rushing attempts and the completions, you combine that number. When you get over 52, it doesn't tell you who's going to win the game. No, I mean, Tennessee was bad last week in that category. Washington was good. Tennessee won the game. But it tells you how's your execution going. And I think what we're seeing more than ever, Jason, is you're seeing a lot of incomplete passes. Like, the Cowboys won with Cooper Rush. He had 10 completed passes. That's all he had in the game.
100 yards.
Yeah, but what your point is this. To me, I think what they should do is when Dak comes back, run a similar offense. Don't go and think that you're going to start changing it. Manage the game so it fits Dak better. I think they've never done that. I think Kellen Moore just calls plays when Dak's in there and hope he executes. When Cooper Rush is in there, he called games like a head coach. They manage the game. I think that's really the strategy you have to take into place. And when you talk about Lamar, I've been saying this on my program for months. I hate the Ravens offense because Lamar, for as talented as he is, and I think he's really talented, he needs to play under center. He needs to be able to be under center more, because he is one of the few players in the league that you have to defend the 6th offensive weapon. And when you put him under center, he then becomes the only player at the quarterback position that can block somebody. So when you boot him out, somebody's got to go with him. When you run a naked, somebody's got to go with him, which now no other quarterback does that as well. So it opens up an offense. But when you're constantly in shotgun offset, you don't have a lead blocker, you don't have an expansive running game, and you take away all those options. Yeah, you run read option, but people are better playing read option now than they ever had before. So this all goes back to how do we manage it? What do we set up the offense to do? I've been saying this about the Ravens. Every time they play against a really good coordinator, whether it's Don Martindale this week or Lou Anarumo last week or anybody, they always get shut down because they take away what the read option wants to do. They set their defense outside in, and it becomes a problem. And Roman doesn't make any adjustments to it. He just continues to run his kind of gadgetry runs that don't work in big games.
Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you this. I know I got you for a couple minutes and you're out of here. Let me ask you that. I appreciate you coming in, man. I really do. Let me ask you this. Cooper Rush, in my opinion, McCarthy looks like he's lost 30 pounds. Kellen Moore looks like he's not on eggshells anymore. Is it more running the system they're running when Dak comes back, or is it that Dak just won't run the system? And this is the system that has been designed, but Dak does his ad-libbing reason why he's always injured, in my opinion. But he doesn't throw the football away. He doesn't climb the pocket and live to play another down, which we want our quarterbacks to do by definition. Let's live to play another down. Cooper Rush doesn't make mistakes. He throws the ball away. He understands down and distance. Is that something that Kellen Moore tried to do with Dak and he just won't do it because he's the guy and he's the money guy and he's this big guy? Or do you think that he will do it and the Cowboys will put him in eventually? I just don't know when, Coach. When do you put him in against the Eagles? Do you start him back then? No, I wouldn't. But when do you? What if Cooper goes 8-0?
Yeah, well, I think to me, when he can secure the football with his hand properly, and he can throw it without any pain, you put him in there. But until then, you don't. But I think it goes back to McCarthy becoming a head coach again. Like, McCarthy has now stepped into a role where he's telling Moore what to run and how to run it. Not that he's changed the offense. Like, he's actually become a head coach when Cooper Rush came in there, and he's got to stay that way. Look, we know the Giants are not a great team, but Brian Daboll's managed the quarterback. They've done a good job of staying attached to games, and they've kept themselves in all these games, right? I think even Chicago, for as bad as Justin Fields has played, and he's played poorly, they've kept themselves attached because they've tried to play complementary football with all three phases. That's something that gets lost, and I think it's one of the reasons why these quarterbacks are playing so poorly. I mean, it gets lost in how do we win the game? It's not about how many yards we get. It's not about how many first down. It's about how do we win the game? How do we set it up so that we win the game? What do we have to do? People talk about, game management. No, game management doesn't happen on Sunday afternoon at 1:00. Game management happens on Tuesday in the game plan meeting. How do we have to play the game to win the game? I thought the Raiders did a good job last night. They stayed attached. They got the lead. They had opportunity to win that game down the stretch. They got a third and one. They don't convert. A fourth and one. They don't convert. They have nobody to blame but themselves. But to me, they played the game the right way. They played how they needed to win. They ran Josh Jacobs. They were able to control the ball. The problem was the second half, they only had the ball for 10 minutes. They let that second half get away from them.
Career night for Jacobs and the 4th and 1 call. I just can't do this analytic thing anymore, Michael. It is killing me. Common sense has been destroyed. Analytics has taken over. And I know it's such a big thing in the game now, and I get it and all that. I got 28 guys in the league playing, and I'm just like, dude, it's unbelievable. Common sense is not used anymore. We're seeing Kellen. We're seeing these guys tweet about their head coach's decisions with Keenan Allen, and just.
I mean, that tells you what they think in the locker room. But I think like last night, I would have kicked. I mean, I always go back to what would Belichick do. I would have kicked it, right? And I love Josh McDaniel. My son's the offensive coordinator. I will tell him this morning when we talk, I would have kicked it. Now, the theory is if you get the lead, you want even if you don't get it, Kansas City plays 4 minutes, you get the ball back. I don't know about all that. To me, I'm going to tie the game, give my team a chance. The two plays that I thought were the most egregious in all of football last weekend on Sunday was happened in Cleveland with the Chargers and the Browns. First, for Kevin Stefanski to go for it on 4th and inches at his own 25 with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, okay, at his own 25. So you say analytics says go for it. Okay, explain to me what's the reward we get? 3 more downs?
I don't know.
What do we get? What do we get if we go for it? I can understand your logic going for it when you're in your red zone. Okay, we're going to get points. We got a chance to get points. I got that. All right, I don't agree, but I got it. I don't agree with giving them with going for it at your own 25 when the only reward is we get three more plays. We might have to punt anyway. Those 3 points cost his team the game. 2 weeks in a row, Stefanski's cost his team the game. And then the decision by Staley, what Keenan Allen said is right. If he trusted his defense, as he said after the game, I trust my defense, then punt the goddamn ball.
Oh, shit. I can't believe it. And last night's kick just blows my mind again. It's like, and I'm like, dude, what do you gain from not tying it? I mean, you tie the game, you're going to be up 1 and you're going to lose by 2 on a field goal. I just didn't get what they gained with 4 minutes. That's what I didn't understand.
I don't agree with it. I'm just going to say that. I'm not defending it. All I'm saying is I think it's part of how you strategize the offense of the Chiefs. When the offense of the Chiefs get into 4 minutes, right, that's when you have a really good advantage because Andy really doesn't want to run the ball. He really doesn't. And you can stop their run game. I mean, look, the one thing we learned about the Chiefs last night is they're not explosive. I mean, they had 4 drives of over 9 plays in the game. They converted almost all their third downs in the second half, which is why they were able to. They were perfect in the red zone. Are they going to always be perfect in the red zone? I don't think so. Their margin for error against good teams is a lot smaller without Tyreek Hill. But Mahomes is dynamic. And what killed the Raiders was obviously the 11 penalties and some of the negative plays that they got that hurt their drives, especially in the second half.
Let me get you out of here. Let me ask you this real quick. 2 things. Do you think that these quarterbacks are getting drafted regardless of what team they're going to, bad or good or indifferent? Do you think they're playing too quickly? I think we're throwing them to the wolves where we're not even coaching them in college anymore. I think coaching the quarterback in college has become so bad. Having so many kids playing out there, and I'm just like, it has become so bad. We want to go tempo, shotgun. Don't teach anything under center as far as exchange. We're going to not teach anything rotation, no fronts, no coverages, no blitzes. We don't know who's hot. Do you believe that the quarterback position is being kind of thrown to the wolves when they go to the NFL? And now we're just seeing this spiral out of control with the guys like Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, Kyler Murray's, which they're not really ready. And now who's going to be ready? Because there's nobody else now to learn from. And I said it on my show the other day, Michael, I would not be shocked. I'm not a believer in Jordan Love, but I would not be shocked if he ends up coming in when Aaron Rodgers leaves and is better than these guys we're seeing right now because he got to sit and see. But that could be false. But do you think that's a real thing? And would you recommend him to sit a little bit and learn?
I think this. I think the bigger issue to me is when they draft it, they don't build the team around the strengths of the quarterback. And what is the plan? So you draft Justin Fields, you're Ryan Pace. You missed on Trubisky, you now draft Justin Fields because the media tells you should draft him. Right. But you don't really you don't second order think. You don't say, okay, if we get Fields, this is the kind of team we have to become. This is the kind of team we need to build around him. This is the offense he needs to be in. This is how we need to structure the team. It's like baseball, right? You build your team around your stadium. You know, you have a short left field, you want right-handed hitters. You have a short right field, you want left-handed hitters. You have a fast track, you want speed. Whatever it is, right? So you build your team around it. We're not fundamentally asking the question is, what are we going to run when we get this guy? We just are getting him and think he's going to solve all our problems when he doesn't. Whereas the Mac Jones goes to New England, they had a plan for him. They put him in, they had a plan. Bailey Zappi comes in, they had a plan. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to play the game. Here's how we're going to win the game. And to me, that just there's very few people that can coach the quarterback and even fewer that can evaluate him. And I think we're seeing a lot less people understand how to build an offense. Like Trevor Lawrence, to me, I don't think we've even skimmed the surface on what are we going to run with him. Like we're running, Peterson goes for it on fourth down. They're actually worse this year on fourth down. They're 22nd in the league on fourth down. They were better last year on fourth down. But yet he continues to put them in bad places because he's going for it, not managing the game. To me, it's a real issue.
I'll get you out of here. 5 questions real quick. Carson Wentz, do you bench him for Heineke or you keep him?
I would keep him. I mean, Heineke is going to get killed. That line can't protect anybody.
Baker Mayfield, and I know he got hurt. What do they do there? He's got his third coach in essence fired, in my opinion. I think he's very, very overrated.
I think Baker Mayfield's looking at a minimum salary contract and a backup next year. The way I'm disappointed. I was never a Mayfield fan. I thought his height was a liability. However, that being said, I didn't think he would play as badly as he played the first 5 games. That's as bad a quarterbacking play from a first overall pick. Lamar Jackson had to sit in the green room for 31 picks before he got picked. And he's by far better than Baker Mayfield.
Justin Fields, I think we threw him. I recruited him out when he left Georgia. I tried to get him to JUCO with me for a year, and then he won the appeal at Ohio State and got to play. Good for him. Great family, great kid. I feel he's just being set up to fail. He's not even close to being ready to dissect the defenses in the NFL. But they don't really have any options, and I just hope he doesn't end his career early. Pickett, do you agree to Pickett starting, or do you think Trubisky should stay?
No, I think you got to play Pickett. I mean, Mike's trying to manage the game to win. He needs completions. I mean, when you go with Trubisky, the biggest thing that killed Trubisky was, all week before the Jet game, they knew what the Jets' fronts were. They knew what the Jets' coverage were. And they had all the plays designed to beat those fronts and coverages, and he couldn't even complete them then. So, to me, I've never been a Trubisky fan from the day they drafted him. Look, here's a guy who's Mr. Ohio in the state of Ohio. And Ohio State tells him you're either playing free safety or you're not coming here. So he went to North Carolina. And because he doesn't have instincts as a quarterback, I think it's Justin Fields' issue too. I don't think Fields has innate instincts to play. I think he's a running back playing quarterback.
I agree. I think Kyler Murray the same way. Mariota, does Atlanta keep him going, or are they going to go with the Rook?
I think it's by the way he's played. I mean, I think Arthur Smith has done a great job this year of being in games, competing, building his offense. I don't think they're very talented, but they stay attached to the game, and they've had a chance to win. They've covered almost every single spread. I think they'll give San Francisco trouble because San Francisco is beat up this week.
Yeah, they are. Man, I picked get you out of here right now. I appreciate you coming. I picked Denver to actually be the sleeper to get out of the AFC and have a shot. I thought Russell Wilson was going to have this resurgence, MVP type of year. They have looked absolutely bad. Do you agree that coaches get jobs nowadays in this league because of who they coached? Nathaniel coached Aaron. McDaniels, obviously, more than me. You know him well. He coached Tom. are guys getting jobs and getting those favors because of the quarterback that was successful under their tutelage? And then you're seeing them, and maybe they're not head coaches. They're not built for head coaching roles. I mean, you're seeing it in college right now. Venables looks like a fish out of water. I love Brent. I've known him a long time. But I'm just like, it doesn't look good for a lot of guys. And not all jobs are good jobs, in my opinion. Do you agree to that, or are you saying, no, they can get it done?
No, I think becoming a head coach is a hard job. And I don't think we use mentors enough. I think that Nathaniel's has the look on his face and he's in over his head. I actually think McDaniel's, I mean, they've been in every game. They could have beat the Chargers. They should have beat Tennessee. They should have beat Arizona. They've lost a lot of close games at the end.
14 points, 4 games.
I mean, so they're a 1-14, but you don't want to play them. You do not want to play them. And they're not even very – I mean, they didn't have Darren Waller last night. Their offensive line will get better as they start to get better players in there. I mean, I think they're going to be a good team. I really do. I think he's ready to become a head coach now more than he was the first time. He's a bright offensive mind. But I think ultimately a lot of these guys get head coaching jobs, and they're really just coordinators that have a bigger role.
Before everybody bashes the Rams, are they done, or do they still have a shot because they're so talent rich, and are they just missing the
I'm
OBJ?
not sure they're talent rich. They have some really talented players, but I'm not sure they're talent rich. Their depth is bad. And I think really where they're having a hard time is because they run an offense with Goff. They were play action pass outside zone. So now they get Stafford in, they become the Detroit Lions off. They can't protect him. And he turns the ball over to them. They've lost it. They have no identity whatsoever. And I think their talent level, when you watch them defensively, other than the great Aaron Donald and Ramsey, they're not very good. And when you watch them offensively, that offensive line doesn't block anybody.
Nah, they're banged up, and I think they're out. They're over their head, man. I hate that they're this bad, this fast. I appreciate you, Michael, man. I know you're busy, man, and I love seeing you on Pat's show. And I hit him up last night, man. I was like, man, I'm trying to get Michael on the show. He's like, oh damn, Paisano. So I appreciate you guys, man. I love what you do, man. And tell your son good luck, man. Max Crosby's been on my show. Good kid. I've had a couple of those guys playing for the Raiders, my former players. So they do a good job, man. So kudos to your son, man. Tell him he's doing a hell of a job with Carr. I'm not a Carr guy, but he's doing a hell of a job with him.
Yeah, they need to get better. They need to close out games. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Michael. Take care.